Episode 124. Never make permanent decisions on temporary feelings.
You're listening to the very best podcast in the world on health, wealth, and happiness. Please remember to leave a review and share with all your friends and family. And here is your host, Lars Hilser.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello friends, welcome to the very best podcast in the whole entire galaxy, world, universe. Your personal, your only source in the universe for personal supremacy is the way of wealth and happiness. Anyhow, today we're going to talk about feelings. And feelings are something, totally bizarre. They're entirely unnecessary in many life situations, and they are serious inhibitors in various situations in life. And that's why we're going to talk about why, when you're having feelings about something, you shouldn't make decisions while you haven't investigated the situation rationally. I think that pretty much brings it down to the point. I was on a project many moons ago, and the guy that I worked with was a complete spoiled brat, and it was very difficult to work with him because he was so full of himself that he oversaw the fact that he landed the deal. That's it, but just because he was a talker and he was able to kind of wing in all of the stakeholders and convince them that he had the best team in the world, which he then had to assemble to get what we were supposed to get done. Now, the project was, I think, something like 4 months, and it just became ever more difficult. Plus the fact that he was untruthful in a variety of situations, very unself-reflected. Like I said, he was totally full of himself. And there came a day when I contemplated kicking the project and saying, okay, I'm out. I've never done that in my entire career. That has never happened to me, that I was at a situation like that. But this guy just, we weren't going to get the job done, right? We weren't going to get it done on the budget that he had himself talked into. We weren't going to get it done in time. We weren't going to get it done to a degree where the customer was going to be satisfied. So the whole project was basically fucked from the beginning because this guy was a moron. Long story short, my feelings to him were so negatively charged, that I projected his shortcomings onto the project, right? These emotions, these feelings that I had almost led to the fact of me quitting the project, thereby jeopardizing the outcome of the project, because the colleagues I was there with would have not been able to compensate the loss of me on the team. Now, luckily, we had a very, very, very experienced project lead that was there basically for liaison purposes only with the customer. And this guy, we walked around the block a couple of times, and I was telling him, after this one confrontation, the one that escalated really badly, I told him I was ready to hit that son of a bitch across the room. And he was like, yeah, you could have done that. I know you could have physically, but you didn't, because, and it wasn't out of respect for the guy. It was because subconsciously you knew that the project was doable, and that we're able to complete it without the guy. It's just a matter that we have to ignore him away, right? And um, that was actually a very, very, very enlightening walk that we had there. And we managed to actually get the project done. I don't know whether it was satisfactory to the customer. They said yes. I'm quite certain we were not the first to do the analysis that we did. I'm very sure that there were other teams there before us, and we were kind of like to deliver a different conclusion, which we didn't. And anyhow, the project turned out well. What I'm trying to say is, had I reacted the way I wanted to, because I had my fist balled in my pocket, I was ready to break his nose, because he was accusing me of something I had done, and it was just his technical incompetence to be able to follow what I was saying. It was about a vanished document, and it was like, had I reacted on my emotions, on my feelings, which were temporary at that time and only a projection of him onto the project, I would have derailed the entire project. And that would have been a permanent decision. Had I really got into a physical altercation, that would have been it, period. Because then there would have been no foundation to carry on. So, cooler heads prevailed. The project lead took me, we both went for a joint walk because he needed fresh air. I needed a cigarette after that. And we figured it out to a very satisfactory degree. And then I said, yeah, okay, let's go. Let's do it. And the emotions were gone just by talking about it, right? And what happened was this great project, which we all didn't really anticipate on completing, was finished on time. We did kind of pull the budget a bit, I think by about 5%, but that's okay. Considering the amount of work was totally pulled out of the guy's ass. And so very interesting things transpired out of me keeping myself under control, and it led to the project being successful. Very, very long-lasting friendships, which until today exist, happened out of that. And so the project was a total success. And situations like this, where feelings get in the way and cloud your vision, and steal your clarity on a situation, are quite frequent. Particularly now where everybody's locked up with everybody else. You don't really have your normal life anymore where, when things got hot, you just went for a walk or, did whatever, drank a beer at the pub or, whatever it is. That those times are gone for now. And so I think a lot of us need to readjust and relearn on how to take a deep breath on a very small amount of space. And I think if you honestly reflect upon it, it's much more difficult to do so, because otherwise you could create a physical distance, right? Pre-Rona, you were like, okay, I'm just gonna walk around the block, just clear my head. And that's difficult. Other people would say, I'm going to take a beer at the pub. I'm going to be back in a few hours. Other people said, I'm going to go for a pack of cigarettes, and never came back. Sorry. And it's like, these situations arise in the private lives of, I think, everyone. As soon as you live together with someone, it's inevitable that you're gonna get into an altercation, a verbal one only. I'm not talking about the whole domestic abuse issue. That's totally different story. I'm talking about, just inevitably, because, you're just two different human beings, right? With different social backgrounds, with different upbringing, with different parents, with different, everything is different about you, right? You kind of find together to pursue a joint goal, whatever that may be. And then you've got two different, it's a petri dish of horror, really, essentially, right? But that being said, in these times, it's very important to learn the skill of actually taking that breath, which you would have otherwise done, I don't know, at the pub or at the cafe or wherever, taking that breath at home while physically being around that same person you're having the altercation with. And not everybody's in a lucky position of having, close to 200 square meters of space to live on with two people. You've got people living, families living with 5 or 6 or 7 people in a 60 square meter apartment. So good luck there, finding physical distance. But it's doable. And I've done it before in situations where, you couldn't establish that physical distance and still manage to kind of, tune out and take a step back, look at the situation, saying, okay, we ain't getting somewhere. Let's try this. Right. And feelings are, for most of us, are going to be temporary. And decisions we make based on feelings are going to be permanent. Right. Let's say, I'm angry at my better half and I say something very bad. That's going to stick. That's going to be permanent. I can't undo that. What I can do to deflate the situation is, like I said, take a deep breath, look at the situation from a different perspective, cool down, and then re-engage in the conversation with a new perspective. And that's, I think, the most important takeaway from this episode. Now, to honor my friend Chris's remarks, which he sent to me, and he likes the 10-minute format rather than the longer ones. We're going to close at 13. Still fucked it up, but we're getting better. So in that sense, if you know someone that, is maybe a bit of a hothead and makes a lot of decisions based on feelings, share this episode with them. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, sorry, you're the only one left. Make sure you do it now so that you get a free slot. I wish you a successful day. Have a good night if you already had it. And we'll be in touch tomorrow for Exercise Friday, when we're going to talk about poison and how it kills people, or sort of like that. See you soon. Stay safe. And we'll be in touch tomorrow.